Aerobics classes. Boom. Let's see where this goes in. Cardio kickboxing, Zumba. It's a great way to keep up with the rest of the class. Just don't go too hard, okay? Form is key. It doesn't matter how everybody else, how fast they're going, how perfect their form is. You do you. Try to follow the instructor the best. I never forget. Many years ago, because I haven't had one of these, availability of one of these classes recently. But many years ago, actually, the last one I ever took was a kickboxing class, and I was doing all out, highest kicks, and I couldn't keep up with the rest of the class because I was doing it too hard, too strong of kicks, too high of kicks. The instructor had to tell me, look, if you want to keep up, you can't go too hard. Just medium kicks and don't put so much power behind them. I was like, oh, very important lesson. So for you hardcore martial artists like out there, just like myself, look, take it easy. It's kickboxing, but it's it's under the category of aerobics, all right? Don't think it's not a competition. All right, so aerobics, where should I put this bad boy? Well, you know what? The enthusiasm of the class, the pumping music, just like a cycling class. This includes any class, really. Like I said, Zumba or cycling or aerobics. It's a great motivator, but you're going to need extra work. It's not that it's not important, but it is. I would put it... You know what? I mean, because you're competing against a lot of other categories here. So I would put it in B tier. It's good. I have to be very strict with this ranking. So it's good for fat loss. But, we're not into strength training or calisthenics. It's technically calisthenics, but it's more purely aerobics. I mean, come on. So you'll see. You'll see with the rest of the categories here why I'm putting it in B tier. Because I have to reserve A and S tier for the best of the best. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the second category here is the air bike. Also, often called a Schwinn bike. You can torch fat and build strength easily and far more safely than sprinting or running or jogging. It's an excellent choice, the air bike, because you're using your arms just like a cross trainer, but in a punching position, horizontal fists instead of vertical, a neutral grip. So this is very powerful to work the back, the chest, because you're pushing and you're pulling. One arm is pushing and the other one's pulling. So unlike a cross trainer where it's a vertical grip, this one's like a punching horizontal grip. You can really feel it. So you got your whole body into this. Is an excellent exercise here, the air bike. So, oh, mamma mia, where would I put this? You know what? I gotta say, I mean, I had like the best... I had the best sweating sessions with this puppy. I'm going to put it all the way up in S tier. Because it's the same as sprinting. I mean, if you really go all out on this bad boy, you'll burn just as much as any sprinter, runner. I can promise you that. And it's not about calories. It's about how much you sweat. Because you got to get that lymphatic system going. If you don't know what that system is, better go educate yourself. Lymphatic system. It's your body's drainage system. So that's why I encourage you to watch the diet episode, because it'll teach you how to eat appropriately to avoid clogging that system. And that's how people normally get obese and morbidly obese or just overweight. So you don't want that. All right? Don't mess up your systems. It's not just the digestive system. It's your lymphatic system that gets jacked up as well. All right. Your metabolism, goes straight down. Let's go ahead and move on. That's an excellent, super. I can't put that in A. It's got to go in S. All right, next on the chopping block here. Right, so as seen on TV, gadgets. From shake weights to the gazelle. Look, feel free to supplement with anything interesting. But just beware of cheaply made products. Always watch the reviews before buying. You can find some gems. Like there was this abdominal machine where you use your entire lower body to swing to the left and right. That's pretty good. Always be in control over anything in this whole list. You want to be in control of the exercise. So as seen on TV, though, there's not many gems. So, it's not going to be as competitive as aerobics. This is more just supplemental. So if you find something that works for you, I'll go ahead and put it in C tier. Uh, it's acceptable. It's not everything as seen on TV, but like a shake weight, that's not going to do you much good. But there are other things such as like a squat assist machine. Got really great reviews for those people that not used to squatting. Hey, whatever gets you exercising. So if you get excited by what you see on TV, like this big stepper, this like air powered. I've seen a lot of cool things, gadgets, and some of them had great reviews, but once again, not the majority. So whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, any gadgets of any type, just look at the reviews and see if they're effective, if people are raving about them. It's not going to be like the next biggest thing. I highly doubt it. An invention of that sort of magnitude. But for purpose of getting people into fitness, encouraging them, get them motivated, I'll put it in C tier. It's not horrible. It's good that people are trying to invent new gadgets and ways of exercising and not just the typical machines that we have available to us. That's why I put it in C tier. It's okay, right? It's not offensive or dangerous. So basketball is up next. All right, so basketball, non-competitive is the way to go here for safe results. Okay, non-competitive. Nobody's trying to win a tournament. Just be sure to maintain a slightly low stance to make sure you work those legs. A lot of chicken legs out there. So what you want to do is make sure with the lower stance, not a super low stance like a kung fu practitioner, for crying out loud. Just a little bit low stance, get your footing straight and make sure you don't slip and fall, and it can be tough on the joints if you're not careful. And also your posture, hunched back, you don't want to do that. It does have a technique requirement to bounce the ball. It's not just bouncing the ball like some, first grade class, in recess, or physical education. It's not like a bouncy ball. It does take technique, okay? But don't focus too much on scoring the points. Just play for fun. Like I said in the hobby series, take it easy. But here, if you want the physical benefits, as far as exercise, make sure you're moving enough and not chasing the ball all the time. Bring multiple basketballs with you. That's a smart idea. So you can keep things going, right? And if you have a partner, that's even better. Just like if you have someone to lift weights with, for example. Like a spotter or training partner. So I would say basketball, though, it's really just average. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's not like the holy grail of fitness, and I just don't think the legs get enough stimulation, in my opinion. So if it wasn't for it's mainly upper body and it's technique based. That's why it's going into C category. As far as if you really want to get in shape fast, basketball might help. Obviously, any sport will help. But I got to be very stringent on this list here. So, all right, let's go ahead and move to bicycling. This means like outside bicycle, maybe even a stationary bike in the gym. So bicycling is mainly lower body. It's not really upper body. Like the Schwinn bike, the air bike that I put in S tier. But bicycling outside, well, here's the thing. It's great only when cycling on a bike trail or long distances to really feel the burn. And also try hovering above the seat for more gluteal action. If you don't know what your glutes are, go look it up. Goodness gracious. So, yeah, I would say bicycling is a good activity. There's nothing wrong with it. You get outdoors and do some... you can get very aerobic with it, so I'll just go ahead and put it in B tier. But compared to a Schwinn air bike, it doesn't have to be Schwinn, but an air bike is like... No. There's no momentum. It's just all... It's all you. You're the engine there, so... Gotta put it in B tier. fun activity. All right, but considering what it's up against. Number 6, calisthenics, body weight exercises. Push-ups, squats, pull-ups, small controlled squat jumps, safe and extremely effective. So calisthenics is actually extremely necessary. This one's going in A tier. I mean, that's why push-ups are in the army for a reason. Not the sit-ups, which break your back, but if you can do crunches, that's a better reverse crunches, twisting crunches to hit those intercostals and obliques and serratus anterior. And pull-ups. If you do correct pull-ups, you can reinforce your posture. It's a good posture exercise. You got to contract the shoulder blades together and make sure you engage all of the back muscles appropriately, not just the latissimus dorsi. But, calisthenics, there's a lot of exercises, and you can do it anywhere. There's no excuses. So at home in your room or in a designated room for you call an indoor gym or out in the backyard, calisthenics is in anywhere. You don't have to attend aerobics class or have a bicycle or have a Schwinn bike. So, but it's not going to be a super exercise because, calisthenics is more of it's limited to your body weight. An air bike compared to calisthenics is, well, they have different purposes. It's a little bit more difficult to get a cardio session because it's way too intense with calisthenics. It might be way too intense for somebody to switch high intensity interval training. That is, it's kind of it might be too intense for most people. So if you really want to do the easy and hard way, but it's not really that hard, it's actually easy. I would go for the air bike compared to calisthenics, but don't toss calisthenics. You need to do calisthenics. So that's why it's going in A tier. So I hope that kind of explains it for anybody who's new to calisthenics. All right, next up on the chopping block, cross trainer. A lot of people dog the cross trainer. They talk a lot of trash about it. Actually, the cross trainer was one of the machines to help propel me to the next level when I was young, just getting into exercise. It was a huge thing. It wasn't this, oh, it's momentum. No, it's not. No, it's not. You can make this bad boy very challenging, very grueling. So cross trainer, a great choice for a complete body workout. Use the lower levels to go faster and focus on form, contracting your abdominals. Yes. Now, the beauty of the cross trainer is that just almost like the air bike, you're using your arms as well as the cyclical motion of the pedals with your lower body. But if you do this exercise correctly, the ease of use, it's really easy to use, and it's a major energy burner. So I would say cross trainer, I'm comparing it to that air bike. It's the next best thing. So let me go ahead and put it in A tier. Just to be fair. It's a great one, but if I had a vertical stepper here, I would put it in S tier, but they don't make them anymore, sadly. It's not even on this list, but I would have put a vertical stepper. But unfortunately, I try to look for it online. I don't see any big machines anymore. Very unfortunate. Please remember that if you ever see it in the future. Vertical stepper is just up and down. That's it. Up and down, up and down. You'll build the most amazing physique just from that. You think it's just lower body, but it shreds all different types of fat from all over the body. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on. That's the only reason I didn't include that bad boy. Because nobody's going to know where to find it. All right, next on the shopping block is football. Oh boy. Non-competitive is the way to go, okay, as I said before. Unless you are looking for a potential lifelong injury, yes, you can easily get hurt playing football, and trust me, it's not worth it. Simply pass the ball back and forth and move around. Take it easy. Just pass the ball back and forth. That's all you need to do. And move around a little bit. Like go long, but don't go so long to where you have to lob the ball, spiral it. So many guys. Seriously, and gals, take it easy. You don't want to wear your rotator cuff out, your arm out. See, this is the way ridiculous injuries happen. That's why football to me is just not a good choice. I'm going to put it down here in D tier. It's fun to pass the ball around for a little bit, but there are far better choices. And yes, there's running in competitive football, and there's clashing. It's 100%, collision based, okay, contact based, and it's not safe really. If you want to play tag football, whatever. But I mean, it's more stressing than it is relaxing and enjoyable. Like a decent, gentle challenge for most people. So, yes, football players are in shape. Well, mainly because they hit the weights and they hit other calisthenics and other exercises, not just about the football. So, the actual action of playing football itself, even with or without contact, there's far better exercises out there. And so, like I said, with calisthenics, you don't need any equipment at all. So, compared to that and the air bike, where, yes, it is equipment, but it's an unbelievable experience that you can't get from playing football. Yeah, I'm comparing it to that. If you disagree, I'd be interested to hear why. All right, so next on the chopping block is golf. Let's see. Form is where the benefits are. Walking is a must, which makes this a good low-level activity. Unless you drive everywhere. See, you're just going to ruin it by driving, right? But to each their own. I mean, this is supposed to be a leisure activity, but if you're going to use this for exercise to get out and about, it's not as strong as... I would say it's just not that... I mean, if you're walking, only if you're walking around while playing golf, because it takes a long time to finish all the holes, so I'm going to say, I really want to put it in C tier. Because at least you get outside, but this is without the golf carts, okay? That's the caveat here. I'm talking golf without the golf carts, because that ensures that you're walking up hills and you're walking. So walking is a fantastic exercise, which we'll get to. But if you're using the golf carts, then that sucker's going to go down an E category. Because it's not enough to just swing the balls and that's it, okay? All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, kayaking. Now this is different from canoeing, okay? Canoeing is the downward stroking on each side. This kayaking is you're doing kind of like an X motion. You're going down on one side, up on the other, and then down on the other side, up on the other, continuously. It's a perpetual motion that it's let me see here. It could be a full body workout. But mainly, this will build your core strength. Arms, chest, and back, which is fantastic. You can even hit your legs while kayaking, but the thing is, you won't hit your legs that much, though. I wish they had some type of maybe pedals in there that you could probably press and release, But that's just not how it is. So, kayaking, though, for upper body strength, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, but, you need the boat and everything, preparation. So, where would I put this? I mean, because it's so challenging, and you have to maintain that posture. It's going to be... But you are seated, though. That's not quite a good thing. It's similar to biking outside. It could be as intense as... I'm going to put it in B tier. Just because you're sedentary... and the legs aren't really pumping as much as, say, a cross trainer or some good calisthenics or the air bike, really pumping everything. I think that's a good tier to put it in as B tier. It's one of the more adventurous activities if you want to, but there's so much preparation involved. So let's go ahead and move on. My favorite, martial arts, as you guys should know by now. Any art will greatly benefit your health in multiple ways. Shadow boxing or striking the heavy bag or focus mitts, it all delivers spectacular results. So martial arts, of course, goes into S tier. There's no doubt about it. You are in control over the intensity. So, but you can't forget that martial arts requires conditioning. You still have to do your aerobics, your weightlifting. Maybe not lift too much weight, but you still have to strengthen yourself. It's all about flexibility, coordination, accuracy, everything, endurance, which is your stamina. It's but it's an excellent, because you can do it anywhere. Martial arts, it's better than calisthenics by themselves because it's more of a mind, body, and emotional cure for a lot of problems for a lot of people. So you get all these extra benefits. You learn discipline, hopefully. So if you're a good martial artist, that's what it depends on the practitioner. But it's an excellent, excellent activity, and I bet a lot of people will stick to it. The only thing is, some fighters, they fall off the wagon. They gain weight and everything because they're not conditioning themselves. So if you just had these two in S tier, you'll be good to go. So far, we're not done yet, obviously. Next one on the chopping block, and I do mean chopping block with this one, is powerlifting. One of the worst choices one can make due to the potential danger of extreme injuries that can last a lifetime. Leave your ego at the door. It's not worth the risk. Yes, I have done powerlifting, but who cares if I could bench? How much was I benching? 360 pounds bench press. And, that was my 1 rep max. The wrists are just begging for mercy at that weight. That's why I never did that stuff again. I stuck to just 225, just like football players, and just rep it for supersets. Look, I mean, most people, they can barely do 135, 1 plate on each side bench press. But when it came to the deadlifts, my maximum was about, 405. And you just put your back at risk of a severe injury. And you have to have impeccable form. I don't care if you're squatting, deadlifting, overhead shoulder pressing, or bench pressing, or any other movement. You could easily tear a bicep. You don't want to see. Go look up videos on that if you can stomach it. You don't want that. You can tear up your chest. I mean, this isn't just with people who use steroids. This is just with anybody. And even if you do everything correctly, you could still severely injure yourself. I don't care. Even powerlifters will tell you this. It's at your risk. Yeah, it's a great exercise, but I mean, not pushing it to the limit. Literally 1 rep maxes. It's not worth it. Weightlifting is about, powerlifting. They try to make it how much weight you can lift. Unless you're going to be a strongman competitor, it's not worth it. This is one of the worst things you can do. So, but if you were to do a safer version of powerlifting, but even then, it's not that much safer. Like CrossFit people, when they do multiple sets of weightlifting, well, they put themselves in such a drastic position. Usually they sacrifice form because they want to complete a certain amount of reps and supersets. So this is just like like CrossFit, with those swimming pull-ups and such. It's just something's gonna break, something's gonna snap. So I really want to put this with football, just because yes, you can get benefits from it, but just like football, it's very dangerous. Perhaps even more dangerous than football itself, but that's very, very arguable. That's very debatable because both of them, you can get paralyzed from football easily if you're not careful, no matter how much in shape you are, versus powerlifting. Well, you could tear something up, or you could die underneath the weights that fall on top of you, for all I know. So I'm going to leave it in D tier because both of them do have benefits, but very high risk. So hopefully nobody gets offended out there. No snowflakes out there just because I rate high risk as lower. All right, so let's move on to the next category, racquetball. Oh boy, what a favorite with racquetball. More on the technical side, if you play non-competitively, then yes, this is a fun and good level form of exercise. But that's the thing, because if you play racquetball competitively, then you're just gonna kill the ball and score points, and you don't move around much. It's all technique based. That's what I've always hated about racquetball. I'm like, okay, you're always gonna meet a player who's way better than you, and they just kill the ball. You can't even run to it. There's no chance for you to even go to the ball. So what's the point? So, but in terms, if you're just playing with your brother or your sister or a friend or your parents or whatever, you know, or with your partner, it doesn't matter. This is a fun activity if you just hit the ball against the wall, let your opponent go ahead and get to hit the ball too, and just have a good time moving around and hitting the ball, almost like tennis. So I mean, but then again, you're not really getting a good cardiovascular workout like that, and even when you play competitively, it's still not that much cardio. It's start and stop, start and stop. It's more about technique and points. So, I'm gonna put it right there with golf because golf is very technique based, and actually, golf would be better because you get to walk around. But you are walking around in the racquetball court. But as much walking as golf without the golf carts, no, but see, it's very similar though. It's all technique based. So, not a big fan of racquetball. You will sweat a lot if you're just hitting the ball like a bunch of crazy heads and you don't care about points just to get a good workout. But then again, what's the point? So, all right, besides going deaf in there, let's go ahead and move on here. All right, next on the chopping block is running. It's best to run on a treadmill. So if you're gonna run, I highly suggest that you invest in at least $1,000 treadmill. Save up for it, for crying out loud. It's worth it. You don't want to invest in a cheap treadmill because it's gonna break on you. And just maintain that bad boy. But if it's a rainy day outside, it's too dangerous, or if it's a snowy day, whatever it is, or it's too cold or whatever. I mean, unless you want to train like Rocky, look, I get it. Form is key. Be very careful when sprinting. That's the high risk. If I had sprinting by itself, it would go right there in D tier. Yes, you can get an amazing body by sprinting and powerlifting. Well, if you watch what you eat, because a lot of powerlifters are overweight. But is it worth it? No. Running is just not worth it. It's just one of those things that annoyed me about the army, by the way, is I always ask, why do we have to run 2 miles? Why can't we just run 1 mile? In fact, I think the Marines only run 1 mile, if I'm correct. I'm like, why can't we be like the Marines? Just 1 mile. We can run faster. We can be more muscular. Just this whole endurance thing with 2 miles was a killer. You had to just pound pavement. Doesn't even matter if you have great running form. It's really not a good exercise. Now, if you're going to run on the treadmill, it's still similar. I mean, you have a lot more cushion. But, I mean, a nice 1 mile jog should suffice to avoid an injury. So, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to say that running includes jogging. Anything above the 3.0 miles per hour. Some people have to jog at that speed, but I can fast walk at that speed. I've even been known to fast walk at 4.0, 4 miles per hour on the treadmill. But lately, not really, because I have a different treadmill now, which I think it just feels faster at 4.0. That's definitely jogging these days. And some people argue that treadmills do differ. So, I don't know exactly. I mean, it is high risk, but it's not as high risk as I would say. Well, you know what? I'm going to put it also with the powerlifting running because there's just so many other better choices. If you want to get the same benefits as running and sprinting, go on that air bike in S tier. And I'm going to put it in D tier because compared with everything else in C tier, they're not high risk. Basketball is definitely not as high risk as running. Now, it doesn't mean you don't run up and down the court. No, but you're stopping, and it's a controlled run. It's not like you're trying to run as fast as you can or sprinting, that's exactly what it is. No, basketball is more like keep an eye on where the ball is. You kind of jog most of the time. Sometimes you might sprint like a suicide sprint, but without the reach down. But the main point here is that basketball is a game. It is sort of continuous clock, but it's not just sprinting in a line and keep the same intensity. No, it's varied intensity. So you can't compare running with basketball just naked as is. No, you can't do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Have to elaborate on these, otherwise people are going to be like, no, it's the same. No, it's not the same thing. All right, so next on the chopping block is soccer, football. A little rough on the joints due to excessive running, as I just explained. Jumping and possible fouls colliding with other players. Once again, if you play non-competitively for safety and just for exercise benefits, soccer is a lot better than football. You know, if you're going to just pass the ball around. No rotator cuff injuries or any problems, you know, heavily warming up the shoulders and everything, the arms. And so, but the legs, they're a powerhouse. Simply passing the ball back and forth and doing some juggling techniques. See how many times you can juggle the ball. I mean, you know, it's a lot better. It's a fun leisure activity, but, you know, in jogging, once again, instead of sprinting and running, you have the cleats on. Hopefully you wear cleats. But that could be hard on the feet. But then again, it could actually strengthen the feet. But, you know, unless you're not, I don't think there's any wide-toed sneakers out there. Not sneakers, but cleats. That's a whole different topic, by the way. You know, but you got to assess the situation from every angle. So I'm going to say soccer is a lot of... Yeah, it is a lot of jogging and everything. So let me see. Soccer, I mean, it's a lot better than football. It's definitely better than racquetball. Okay, that tells me everything. It's going to go in B tier. Yeah. I mean, you got to make it harmless. So don't take it so seriously, like sprinting all everywhere and running. And especially if you're going to be competitive, like, because fouls will happen and they're really nasty fouls. Not as bad as football, but I'm going to put it right there in B tier. I think it's something everybody can do. Everybody can kick a ball, right? Just learn how to kick the ball different ways. You don't have to score goals either. Just work on, you know, for cardiovascular benefit, soccer is pretty decent. You can even do it in your backyard. So just don't kick the ball over the fence or anything. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Stretching. Now, you might say stretching is, oh, what's that? That's a warm-up. No. Even yoga is based around stretching and strengthening the body. So stretching, whether it's yoga or simple stretching, even in your home, on your bed or your couch, whatever, static and dynamic stretching are a must if you wish to achieve maximum health and fitness and longevity. What's the first thing that starts missing when people start getting older? Their elasticity. That's why they're going to break their hip and break their back and or whatever. Oh, my neck, I tweaked my neck and this and that. My ankle, my wrists. Stretching is going to benefit you in so many ways. It increases I believe it's called synovial fluid in between the joints. It eliminates all these air pockets and such. It keeps your joints active and rejuvenated by actually using them. So, you know, concentric and eccentric motions of the body, just like in weightlifting, which we'll get to. But stretching ensures that, go ahead and go check out the channel Knees Over Toes guy. He's a genius. He can tell you a lot about knee health, but also about the rest of the body as well. So I agree with him 100%. He's got some groundbreaking stuff, and he's been doing it for years now. So, but just with that in mind, stretching for me has always been a part of the martial arts and fitness overall. So this goes in S tier. Stretching is an exercise. You can actually sweat from doing continuous stretching routines. And it's not just a sweat; it's for your health and fitness. Because forget about the martial arts if you're not flexible. And also with the air bike, well, you might not need that much flexibility. It's more just strength and stamina. But as for anything in life itself, stretching should be number one, right up there. It is an exercise, but it's also maintaining life itself. And if you don't know what I mean, then you're probably stiff and not that active. Do your research. All right, next one in line is tennis. Rough on the joints due to the agility requirements. Be sure to play, once again, non-competitively, and you should be okay. Bring plenty of tennis balls for constant action, by the way. Okay? But tennis is technique-based. It's similar to racquetball. So it's gonna go with racquetball. You have more space to move in, but it requires a certain technique. You gotta go to the ball, So yes, I mean, non-competitively even it's kind of not as intense as what we want. So it's more of a leisure activity in terms of exercise. But yes, you will be sweating like crazy, especially if it's a nice warm day outside. I used to play in the Orlando, Florida hot weather. Yeah, tons of sweat over in the tennis courts. All right, let's go on to number 18, walking. Now, walking is a must. You can get into tip top shape just by walking. So, either outside or on a treadmill, walking works the entire body. Walk at a pace where you can easily hold a conversation. There's no need to fast walk. Yes, there's benefits for fast walking. Instead of, jogging, which is in D tier, jogging and running, fast walking will suffice. So, this puppy right here, walking goes up in S tier. If your job requires you to walk constantly, like walk down the block of a city or walk down here, if it's just constant walking, you will maintain your shape. Trust me. Now, you got to have a great diet, of course. Your nutrition has to be on par. But walking in and of itself, it just doesn't matter. Now, I recommend for walking that you wear shoes that have big toes, allow for big toes and let your toes spread is what I'm saying. So the front has to be nice and wide, and you will feel it actually. You might actually gain a size or two just by freeing your toes from these severely restrictive shoes. Go ahead and research because they even have x-rays showing it as proof. And my feet went through the same thing. Once you liberate your toes in a nice wide shoe, you will feel the extra power. And also, you won't have any aches or pains in your feet ever again, for the most part, because you're freeing your toes. And guess what? Every nerve ending in your body, if you study reflexology, is in the base of your feet, and your feet are more important than what you think. So why are we going to put 6 times the force of running on your precious feet? You're just jamming up your ankle and feet, and you can argue that humans were designed to run. Yeah, just run away from danger. That's about it. But to continuously run, no. That's what cars are for, right? To go to long distances. All right, if you look at marathon runners, they even have heart attacks, so it's not natural. So no arguments there. Number 19, rowing, but not just any rowing. Check out this cool, if you can see the image, an LED water effect. I really love this stuff, man. Once again, it's about $1,000, but hey, it looks well worth it. Let's see. Even comes with LED lights. Rowing pumps the legs, back, and arms. Rowing is an awesome activity. But since you're sedentary, similar to kayaking, but this one does pump the legs, so it's going to go above kayaking. It is a full body exercise, but not as powerful as that air bike, or as intense as martial arts, or walking, of course. Walking and stretching, they go in S tier for a plethora of other reasons that none of the below exercises can really give you in comparison. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Now, the last one, weightlifting. Wow, I didn't know it was going to be last. Okay. Weightlifting, strength, gain strength and power by training nice and slow, or explosive when necessary. I mean, be careful though. On the eccentric motion, the pushing motion, if you will. Safety and form are key for excellent results. Yes, weight training. Now, you're not doing powerlifting with weight training. It's all about you're in control of the weight. I don't care if you're using 5-pound dumbbells, 2-pound dumbbells, whatever. You have to go by feeling. You have to go for the pump. Go for the burn. But you can do supersets and everything, but don't go crazy. Let me tell you a quick story. The calf raise machine, way back when I was in 7th grade. I read in this cheap fitness magazine this workout that involved 1,000 reps. And I did that in the gym with the weight that I could handle. Guess what? The next morning, I couldn't even get out of bed. I had to literally crawl out of bed. my calves were so sore and beat up. I'm not even. I'm talking. I couldn't even stand. I had to get to school that morning. So my parents had to stuff me in the car and get me over to school. And let me just tell you, walking around school that day was horrible. So please go easy on yourself. Don't do something crazy like 1,000 reps like I did. It took a long time to complete, but I'm just I went ballistic during those days, and but luckily I didn't get any serious injuries. So you can though. But with weightlifting, you always want to be in control of the weight, and form is key. So weightlifting, I want to put it in S tier. I think it really does. Yeah, it has to go in S tier. You know, it's more than just therapy for the muscles and everything. Weightlifting, it doesn't matter if you're lifting light weights. It's a must. You got to keep strong bones and strong muscles. So if you do all the S tier up here, you'll be good to go. If you want the A tier, yes, calisthenics is good, and the other ones are full body motions. B tier, good. This is good, right? So I think this is a great list right here. If you don't take exercise seriously, then you are literally committing future suicide, okay? Keep that in mind. I'm dead serious about this. That's ironic. So, pun intended. Get yourself in shape and stay in shape. That's the tough part. Nothing good comes out of laziness and weakness. This is about your health here. Your life, for crying out loud. So take this very seriously. This is my humble opinion on all these exercises after I don't know how many years of exercise. I've been exercising since serious exercising since I was 13. Anything before that was walking around and playing outside with the other kids and everything. And PE at school, at the recess. But taking it serious. I even started weight training at age 14, and I had some stretch marks because I was lifting too heavy too soon. That's how I know everything about the powerlifting and the difference between weight training, bodybuilding in general over powerlifting. So you see the drastic difference. It's just not worth it. Who cares how much weight you can lift? I've had my 1 rep maxes just to satisfy my own personal best records. But other than that, it's not worth it. And it's not worth the stretch marks either, even though, most of them have faded away. But it's not ugly or anything. It's just like, oh, there's some stretch marks. So it doesn't really just ruin the body, but it can. It can. Stretch marks, they come from obesity and from gaining muscle too fast too soon. Your skin's it's not that supple enough. You're too small. You're too little. So don't do that. Teenagers, I recommend calisthenics, martial arts, and lightweight training. I mean that. But teenagers, their ego gets up there and they want to lift all heavy, so don't do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream.